Good morning, all of you. I hope I am audible. Anyone can quickly acknowledge in the chat box whether my voice is audible. Okay, thank you for your responses. I hope the presentation screen is visible. Anyone can quickly acknowledge whether the shared presentation screen is visible. Yes, I hope that the presentation screen is visible. Okay. Welcome back to the course on cryptography and system security. So in our previous session, we studied as well as demonstrated few concepts which are related to the authentication protocols. Especially when we talk about the authentication protocol under the unit 4, we studied about the entity authentication as well as user authentication topics. Also, we studied about on important authentication protocol, which was a Kerberos authentication protocol, right? And that we studied about the important elements and their functionalities, right? Which are like the responsibilities of authentication server, right? And then we studied about what is the role of ticket granting server, and then we studied about how the communication for the request as well as response which takes place in order to contact a server, right? Also, we studied about how the request as well as response secretly or securely transmitted from the user to the authentication server, and then reply from the authentication server to the users, right? Also, we studied about how the request will takes place from the user to ticket granting server and reply from the ticket granting server to the user, right? Also, we discussed about how the communication takes place. Suppose if the user wanted to communicate a server which is located in the remote location, that is a remote realm, right? So then we studied about another important topic, which are X.509, which is certificate. Under that, we discussed about different components or entities which are present inside a particular certificate. The certificate consists of a serial number and followed by the issuer name as well as the owner name and the validity, and then the signature parameters, and followed by the certificate revocation list, and followed by the signature algorithm which is used. And at the end, we discussed about how the signature which is added in the certificate in order to verify the particular user's public key, right? When we talk about the X.509 certificate, which are a type of method or type or a method through which one user's public key can be distributed to other users. Also, during our previous chapters, we discussed about different techniques through which one user's public key can be shared with the other users, which are like public announcement, publicly available directory, and then public key infrastructures, right? And then we discussed about the certificate authority, right? Certificate authority is the third party, a trusted third party, I'll say, right? So that responsibility is to create a certificate on behalf of the users, and that will be shared, that will be given to the particular users. Instead of sharing the public key with the other users, user will share the public key certificate, which consists of the user's public keys. By receiving the certificate, receiver will confirm that the particular sender's public key which present in the certificate, right? So then we studied about the Nidam's corridor authentication protocol. Under that, we discussed about how the request as well as the response which takes place in terms of an intermediate entity or intermediate third party entity, which we call as a key distribution center, right? If suppose there are two users, they wanted to exchange their communication secretly, in that cases they need to approach a central, a third party, which is called a key distribution center, right? The key distribution center, right, which will generate a secret key for the two users communication, that will be shared with the two users by encrypting the key, which is uh, the key distribution center will use both the user's master key in order to encrypt the secret key which has been generated, right? So these were the topic we discussed already, right? And if you have any queries regarding the recap, and quickly you can write in the chat box so that I can repeat it again. Any queries regarding the recap of the contents which we discussed so far under the unit 4? Okay, thank you for your response, Alia. And what about others? Okay, thank you for all your positive acknowledgements, right? In this module, or in this session, we will be covering a topic which is different types of authentication, right? That especially one-way authentication, mutual, as well as a three-way authentication, right? So we all knowing about what is meant by authentication. Authentication is something that the user or entity need to be claimed, that whether is in the actual user or actual entity which are claimed to be, right? So here there are different techniques through which an authentication can be identified. Already we studied about biometric authentication, through which, right, where the person who are, right, so say for example I can use my fingerprint to authenticate myself as well as my voice password. So these are the things which comes under that the password management topic as well as authentications, right? So under the model we discussed about, or under the topic we discussed about different techniques or different method through which a password can be protected, or password can be identified as a the strong password, right? So we studied about the different techniques through which an authentication can be proved. The first thing that what the person know, right? The person know something which are like a passwords, right? And we will be entering the correct password to authenticate ourselves. The person or entity who has the right password, right, who are no entering the right password, he will be identified, or he will be considered as an authenticated users. Apart from that, the second category is that the person who have something, right, who have something means that whether I can use any other card which I have, any other entity, any other type of devices or resources which will be used for prove my authentications, might be the RFID tag, or might be some other identity card through which my authentication can be verified, right? The third is that what we are, what the person are, right? So in that, so whatever the things which we have, we are, right, and we can use all those elements in order to prove our authentication. That especially our fingerprint authentication, biometric authentication like palm prints, as well as eye retina, voice password authentications, right, and facial recognition authentication. So these are the some of the authentication technique which are used to prove a particular user is an authenticated users. Apart from that, there are different techniques through which an authentication can be claimed, right? Whether it is a one-way authentication, whether it is a mutual authentication, and then three-way authentications. So in this session we'll be covering all these three categories one after other, right? When we talk about one-way authentication, so here when we talk about the one-way authentication, right, here any one of the entity, if there are two users in a communication, out of that only one user you need to be authenticated, right? So here in that cases one message, that means that if there are two users in a communication, user A and user B, right, only A will send a message, there will be only one message. With the help of the message, receiver will conclude that the message is coming from an authenticated user, right? How so this can be identified, how this can be proved, right? The identity of A, and that the message is from A, so this is to be identified, it is confirmed. The message was intended for B, so B is the receiver here, and integrity and originality of the message has to be verified. right? How this can be verified again, right? Along with this information, a message must include a timestamp. Why we need to have the timestamp? Right, in the Needham's corridor algorithm protocol or authentication protocol technique, we studied each and every message or each and every communication which takes place between the two users, which includes a timestamp as well as nonce message. When we talk about the timestamp, every message, if you are including a timestamp in each message, so that will eliminate a replay attack. What is meant by this replay attack? A man in the middle, he can capture your communication and he can delay the transmission of your messages, right? In that cases, so here your message might be delayed under this replay attack. To avoid that, right, user will send, or the sender will add a timestamp at what time the request has been initiated or they started broadcasting, right? By receiving that message, receiver will confirm or it compare its identity. If it is more than a noticeable delay, then he will assume that in between the message has been delayed by someone, right? By the way, it can be easily identified whether the message has been hacked by the man in the middle. Apart from that, nonce is a simple message, as well as the B's identity and is signed by A. So which whatever the information are, so this is B's identity or the receiver information to whom the message which has to be delivered, right? The message includes certain information which are a timestamp and the nonce message, and then receiver's identity or address of the receiver, right? And the entire information which are going to be signed by A. So here the sign which refers to that are digital signature. Now anyone can quickly write in the chat box how the digital signature is created, or what key which will be used for creating a digital signature under this scenario. There are two users, A and B, right? A need to prove its authentication by means of creating a digital signature, and that has to be sent to the receiver B. In that cases, what key which is used by A in order to create a digital signature? I hope my question is clear. How the digital signature is created under this scenario, or what key used to create a digital signature by user A? Any guess? I'm waiting for your replies. Nobody knows? Okay, I can answer, right? So here is private key which is used for creating a digital signature. Whenever the word you hear that digital signature, right? Digital signature is created by encrypting complete information by sender's private key. This is what we studied under the different digital signature technique, RSA, right? Under the RSA module, we studied about two functionalities can be achieved. The first one is an authentication, and the second one is confidentiality. When we talk about authentication, right, if the two users they wanted to send a message, right, the message which has to be encrypted using private key of the sender, encrypted using private key. So this form a ciphertext. Ciphertext will be delivered to the receiver. By receiving the information, receiver B will do the decryption using public key of A. How the receiver will come to know the public key of A? So that already we discussed different techniques through which one user's public key can be distributed to other users, right? So if the decryption takes place with the help of the sender's public key, right, and after that he will obtain the complete information that shows that that proves that the message has been transmitted by the authenticated user A. This is how the one-way authentication will takes place. I hope this is clear, right? So this may include an additional information for B and session key. So in that cases, this user can create a session key, like how the key distribution center done, right? So user can create a session key, or he can select a session key. Now the session key can be encrypted using a sender's private key, and that can be delivered to the receiver B, right? Now, what is the problem with this one-way authentication? Here, only this the sender can be authenticated, but there is no assurity that whether this has been delivered to the intended receiver B, because when we talk about the public key environment, this one user A's public key can be known to other users C, D, E. Anybody can receive the message and they can decrypt it, right? For that they can add another component, which is to avoid the to achieve the confidentiality intermediately, right? The data which can be encrypted one more time using receiver's public key of B, so that which will increase the security that can be decrypted only by the intended receiver, right? I hope this is clear. In one-way authentication, right? Only one message will be transferred from the sender to the receiver A to B, right? Whatever the message which has been posted by the sender, the entire message which has been encrypted using sender's private key, right? By receiving the complete message, B will decrypt the message by using sender's public key that proves that the message is coming from an authenticated user. So this shows that, or this proves that the authentication is achieved, right? Any queries regarding this explanation? What is this one-way authentication? If you have any doubt, quickly you can write in the chat box. Okay, whatever the content I explained verbally, right? Again, I've given in the in the form of no verbal text form, right? So I can skip this. The second category is that it's a two-way authentication, right? In the first category, we studied about only one-way authentication takes place, where only the sender will be authenticated. When we talk about the two-way authentication, both the users and the communications, user A and B, both the users need to be authenticated. First, he will send a message, right? So whether this can be any message which has been encrypted using sender's private key, right? Now we will get the information, we'll assume that, or we will ensure that the message is coming from an authenticated users. And the second thing is that again B also need to authenticate to A. That means that the receiver's authentication to be confirmed, whether the message is received by authenticated receiver B, right? And he will give the acknowledgement to A by encrypting the acknowledgements or replies with some other key which will prove the authentication of B, right? Which includes, right, two messages, sender A to receiver B, as well as the reply B to A, right? So this includes the identity of the B, that reply is from B, right? The reply is intended for A, so that means that the reply will be sent to user A. Integrity and originality of the reply, right? Whatever the message which comes from B, that integrity, what is meant by this integrity? During the communication, the message should not be altered, right? The message to be delivered to the receiver 100% as it is, without any modifications in terms of no delay or no modifications, no deletions, no fabrications, right? Now, when we talk about along with the initial one, along with the one-way authentication, right, there will be an additional message which is a reply. The reply includes original nonce from A. Whatever the nonce message which has been sent, say for example, if it is hello, which has been sent by A to B. Now the reply includes the same message which has been sent by A and also the timestamp, right, at the time at which the message has been, the play has been created, and a nonce from B. Now you will add another information, say for example, hi, the by this is the nonce message. The entire information which again which can be encrypted with the another secret key, maybe a session key or secret key which has been generated by A and already posted using this one-way authentication. Otherwise, now the entire message which can be encrypted using receiver's private key. If this data is encrypted using receiver's private key, obviously, so that will be decrypted by A with the help of the receiver's public key of B. By the way, now the A will assume that, or we will ensure that the message is coming from authenticated receiver B. Okay, any queries regarding this explanation? Right, so if you have any queries regarding this explanation, quickly can write in the chat box, else we'll proceed further. Okay, so I'm getting a positive acknowledgement from your side. So when we talk about the third technique, which is a three-way authentication, similar to the first two methods, right? Now this is an additional message, right? The three messages, the first one is A to B and B to A, and then the third one is A to B, which enables our authentication without a synchronized clocks. Now, when we talk about this synchronization, why synchronization is required? Why this synchronization is required? You can write in the chat box or you can unmute and say the answer. Why this synchronization is required in communication? To ensure the replay. Okay, I need more precise. No replay. Okay, that is also okay. Okay. Okay, any other answers? I need a little precise answer to related to the clocks. Why we need to synchronize the clocks of the different users? In the last session, I explained about the importance of the clock synchronization. Suppose if there are two users in the communications, right? If the users clocks are running with the different times, say for example, now in my clock, so sender it is 9:25. Now suppose if the receiver's clock it's showing it is 9:30, right? Even if the message which has been delivered without any man in the middle attack or without replay attack, right, each and every message which includes a timestamp, right? Now already the network know that the actual amount of time which is required, say for example, if it is takes only the 2 millisecond in order to deliver the message from A to B. Now after receiving the message, it will check the timestamp, right? By default, if the clocks which are showing in these two different devices or two different users clock A and B, if by default if it is the clocks are different, if the clocks are not synchronized, and it is very difficult to identify whether it is a replay attack or whether it is the actual message. For that, there is a necessity that the clocks need to be synchronized. For that, we may refer any master clock, right, every after particular time period, right? Say for example, if the master clock is showing 9:26, right? So by sending this request to get the time as well as the individual machines times, user A's time as well as user B's time, which will be adjusted based on the master clock. So now it is 9:26, so here 9:26. After that, even if the communication takes place, right, immediately it will come to know that whether after receiving the message, whether the message has been delayed using the man in the middle attack or not, right? For that only we need to have a synchronized clocks, right? When we talk about clock synchronization based on any reference or master clock, right, whoever the users in the communication, all users physical clocks which are going to be synchronized by basing the are based on the reference clock or master clock which they have considered as the master. So this request and reply will take after particular time period. Say for example, every after 30 minutes, right, their time needs to be adjusted by referring the time of the master clocks, right? That includes request time, request as well as response time, right? Say for example, if request, if it is take 2 milliseconds, that will be added, and that will be added in the seconds point, right? So for that, so when we talk about three-way authentication again, so which might be includes the clock synchronizations, right? So first user to user A to B, one message, again B to A, again A to B, right? So if there are three-way authentication, there should be a three communications, right? By all the information which, no, by each and every message which needs to authenticate something, right? I hope this is clear. If you have any queries regarding this, the three-way authentication, quickly you can write in the chat box. Okay. So when we talk about the synchronization, I was explaining about. So Anushka, are you talking about the clock synchronization? So just let me know precisely which point I need to repeat. Are you talking about clock synchronization? See here. So I think you are sure about the clock synchronization, right? So here in the first two, three messages, right, I was explaining about, right, the time, right? Every message which includes a timestamp, right? If A is sending a message to B, right, this includes some timestamp which is something that a time which the message has been created. Say for example, 9:30, 12 seconds and some milliseconds, right? Now this includes a message which is allow along with the receiver information, right, receiver's identity. Now this is the information which has been encrypted using private key of A. By receiving this message, now we will do the decryption using public key. Now this is one way authentication. I think it is clear, right? Once if we get this information, when we talk about two-way authentication, right, now this, the receiver B need to be authenticated to A by means of sending the information which has been sent by the user A, which is hello, along with its own information, which is, say for example, hi, and then timestamp at which the reply has been generated, which is, say for example, 9:31 15 seconds and 23 milliseconds. The entire information again, which has to be encrypted using private key of B. Now this will be delivered to A. A will decrypt the reply using public key of B. Right? Now this is happens when there is no assurance that whether the clocks are synchronized. If the different clocks of the different users, right, instead of 9:30, if the receiver's clock is showing 9:40, what will happen? So here you will not get the time 9:30. So instead, the reply will have the timestamp of B, which is 9:40. By receiving the message, now you will see that we will refer the clock. Here it is showing 9:31, but the reply which is received at 9:40. So there is no synchronization between the clocks. For that, now there is a need of a clock synchronization by referring this master clock, and there will be another information, another authentication message, which is includes a timestamp which is to be adjusted based on the message. Now receiver B will adjust the timestamp 9:32. After that the communication will take place, right? The third step, or the third step which means of that, which is required to synchronize the timestamp. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay. Now here I'll explain about the detailed diagram with the complete parameters through which how the one-way, two-way, and then the three-way authentication takes place. Two-way authentication can also be called as a mutual authentication, where both the users mutually authenticated by sending the request as well as reply to each other, right? So now the first one-way authentication, right? A is sending a message, right, which has been maybe the timestamp as well as the receiver address and then identity of the P, and the entire information, right, which can be encrypted using a public key of B, right? This is again to receive the confidentiality again. So this can be another key AB, KAB. So this can be a session key or secret key which has been generated. Now this message which achieves confidentiality. What is this confidentiality? When we talk about confidentiality, this information, whatever which is transmitted on the network, that can be read only by the intended receiver. To achieve the confidentiality, what data or what key to be used? Anyone can quickly write in the chat box. Here the data which is, sorry, right, if in order to achieve the confidentiality, right, the receiver's public key which is used. Here the encryption, in order to do the encryption, the public key of B which is used for encryption, right, so that the entire information can be read only by this receiver. In order to do the decryption, receiver will use his private key of B. By the way, it achieves confidentiality, right? But no way this is helping for authentication, because B's public key can known to anyone, C, D, or E. Anyone knows the public key of user B, right? But here the session key which is, or the secret key which has been created by the user A, that will be delivered secretly, because this entire key which has been encrypted using receiver's public key. So only the receiver will do the decryption using by its own private key. Now you will get a secret key or session key. With the help of the session key, right, now again you will send a message, right, which is the data or the same secret key, whatever the information which has been transmitted, right, again the entire data which has been encrypted using receiver's public key. Here the receiver is B in terms of if this is the reply. In reply, B will be the sender and A will be the receiver. The entire information which has been encrypted using receiver's public key, right, along with the address of as well as identity of the A and then time stamp. Now by receiving this reply, A will decrypt the message by its own private key PRA, and you will get the information. After that, the third reply, the entire information which will be transmitted or which will be sent using the secret key which they have shared. Now they will use this secret key for further communications, right? And both the message as well as request and reply, right, there are certain parameter which includes address of the sender and then address of the receiver and then timestamp and the entire information which has been encrypted by a particular key, right? So by the way, so we can understand one-way authentication, mutual or two-way authentication, and then three-way authentications, right? Any queries regarding these explanations of one-way, three-way, and then one-way mutual and three-way authentication? If you have any queries regarding the explanation, quickly you can write in the chat box. Example, example where the three-way authentication used, right? We will be using this TCP handshaking protocol, right? So when we use the TCP protocol, we'll use a handshake protocol. Again, we'll use this three-way authentication to confirm both the sender or receiver, they are actual receiver are the senders, right? When we use this connection oriented TCP, where we'll use this the three-way authentication protocol. Are you satisfied with my answer, Uzefa? I think in the computer network you would have studied about the handshake protocols, one-way handshake, two-way handshake, and then three-way handshaking protocol, right? So here this three-way authentication which will be used there, three-way handshake protocol, right, where the both the sender and receiver needs to be authenticated before communication. After that, the combined authentication which will takes place from the source end. Okay, if you have any queries regarding this explanation, quickly you can write in the chat box. I hope all of you wrote your attendance in the chat box. Okay, thank you for your responses. Right, with this, we are coming to the end of our first session. Right, I'll take a break for 5 minutes. After that, I'll resume the session. Okay, so take care. I'll end the session now.